All right, welcome. We have Raquel from Glow Hot Yoga here in Miami Beach, which is like church to me. So I was excited to finally take some classes from you. I know you were your owner of the studio, and you had a baby, so you were gone for a while. So I got to experience all your awesome students, all your awesome teachers, and yeah, you have a great voice. I just have to say,
Thank you.
Yeah, it's very harmonious.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And so I'd love to. Basically, I was very curious. I really value your facility a lot, and so I have some questions about what it goes into, that kind of operation. But more importantly, your story, right? So, where were you born, Raquel?
I was born here in Miami, Florida, a little bit more north from South Beach, about 30 minutes, 20 minutes depending on traffic. It's called Sunny Isles Beach. So I grew up in like Sunny Isles, Aventura area.
Okay.
And moved to South Beach about 10 years ago, and I love it down here. It's very different from being more up north, and it's just a few minutes away, but...
Where's your family from?
I'm Cuban Puerto Rican, so my dad was born and raised in Cuba, came over when he was around 15. My mother was born in New York, and that side of the family is mostly Puerto Rican.
Okay. Yeah, so you're actually one of the few. A lot of our guests usually come from other places, and they just love Miami and they choose to be here. Have you ever wanted to go anywhere else? Do you just feel like at home here?
I do.
Yeah.
I love Miami. I don't see myself living full time anywhere else. I do love other parts of the country and the world. The longest I've lived away was in Orlando when I went to school. So I was in UCF. I lived in Orlando for 4 years, and it was great. I loved it, but Miami's my home.
Yeah.
I always see myself coming back here.
Yeah, no, it sticks you here, and that's kind of why the podcast exists. There's a lot of great people here who are
Yes.
just attracted by the vibration. So, when do you remember your first exposure to yoga?
Absolutely. My first Bikram class was when I was 19. I was already at UCF, and I came back for winter break, and I had broken up with my first boyfriend, and I was heartbroken. So I just drove by one day the studio in Aventura, which is where I started. They had a huge red sign that said Bikram Yoga, and I said, I didn't know what it was, but I was like, I'm gonna try that. It was just like a calling, and like a moth to a flame, I went and took a class, and I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know it was hot. I didn't know what yoga really, I heard of yoga, but I didn't know what it really was. It was completely new to me, and I just loved it from my first class. I sweat so much, more than I could ever imagine, more as most students do, and I just could not believe what I had experienced. What really drew me, because it was tough. I mean, it was just like most first-time students, they find it very challenging. I was no different. And what I loved most about it, what kept me coming back, it was not so much the physical, it was what it did to me mentally. My mind stopped for 90 minutes, and I couldn't focus on anything else except for what I was doing physically with my body. But it was that mental part of my mind stopped. I didn't think of anything. I had no worries. I had disconnected, and that was something I had never felt before, and that's what kept me coming back every single day. I went every day for a month, and then when I went back to UCF, I found my local school, which was 30 minutes away. I had to go on the highway. It was a bit of a drive, but it just became such a pillar in my life, and I felt the difference it made for me in school, studying. I was less stressed about school. Whenever any anxiety came up, I went and did class, and I felt better. I always knew I would feel better after class. And it was always intense. It still is. It's still challenging. That doesn't change. But just that's what kept pulling me back in. That's what drew me. And of course, there's so many other things that come with the continuous practice, but that was my initial hook.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like a spiritual awakening for people, right? When they get out of their head and they start experiencing like higher vibrations of consciousness, and basically love for themselves, right? Because you're really like focusing on yourself in the mirror for the whole time. So you could say in a way it's selfish, but you're really building up your self-care, you're building up your energy, you're spinning your chakras, and then you're like a source of love to go out in the world and like spread good vibrations. So it's like, it is very difficult, and I'd say there's some people who try it, and I have you ever heard, like, seen people who like exit the class early, and it's like, no, you just gotta get to the floor, man, because like sometimes people leave and they're like really close to being on the floor and relaxing, and but anyway, so for me, I never like went full in 30 days. I suppose I was a little awakened before I started doing hot yoga, so I like it as part of my routine as far as like once a week. So like I am addicted once a week, and I cherish it a lot. Just to clear out toxins. I think I probably do it at a sustainable rate that almost everyone could do. It's like once a week, 4 times a month. It's kind of like church. That's why I say anything once a week is kind of like church, because you give it some space, and that means you have other joys, and you come back and you appreciate it, and you get all the benefit. If you're doing it every day, you're devoting a lot of time to it, right? But if you do it once a week and it really transforms your week in a way, then it's really powerful. It's really efficient.
Absolutely.
So I think there's space for a lot of people to do it once a week. I know you have a lot of regulars. I stand, stretch next to them all the time, but as far as once a week, it's really powerful. One reason I could never see myself teaching is it's hard. I mean, like for me, you have to like, all right, I have a very high tolerance for routine, right? And designing and being like, I have my own Monday yoga routine that's like practically almost always the same. It's like my own Bikram. But like to like basically directing people into their body, that's like takes a lot of like discipline, and it takes a lot of care of others. You're really like thanks to your voice and your guidance, we're able to stay in poses that otherwise our mind would start getting distracted and going into other things. We're able to stay in there for longer, and we become almost like superhumans after we leave your class. But how do you go? Like, do you remember when you were like how did you like experience teaching? Like, what drove you into teaching? Like, was it just like you just wanted this more and more of your life, and it was like your big love that you first experienced, and then you just wanted to devote yourself to it? Because it's kind of like a sacrifice. I almost look at it like being a priest or something, or being a sister. Imagine like both genders could be priests. It's like, more than the regular yogi can do it like once a week and have fun, like being creative, but like you're literally like devoting yourself to this genre, and to these set structures, these set poses. So like, do you ever feel boxed in at all, like in the beginning?
Well, everyone's experience is different, and everyone has their own reasons of teaching. Mine, I was pretty confused when I was in college. I didn't know what I wanted to do. But my one constant was yoga. In the beginning, and I find a lot of students, this happens to them too, is, you fit your yoga into your daily life, into your schedule. And then as your practice continues and it becomes more regular, you start to have your daily life, your choices kind of starts to revolve organically around the yoga. And that's what was happening to me. I noticed my eating habits were changing. I was paying closer attention to how close I ate to class. I was, fitting in more so, I can't do that because I have to go to yoga that day. It just became more, my life started to revolve around the yoga. And so I didn't know really what I wanted to do. I changed my major like 6 times, but I knew I loved my yoga. So in my senior year, our professor, I switched my major to business entrepreneurship. And my parents are like, I don't care what you graduate with, just graduate in 4 years and figure it out later. It's like, okay, so I did business because I figured with that you can do anything, and in entrepreneurship that had just opened up a division, so they speak a lot of finding your passion and making a business out of it. And one of my professors said that he's like, figure out what you love and pursue that, make a business out of it, and you'll be happy, and you'll be successful. So it made me think. I was like, well, I love yoga. Like, it was actually, I didn't have to think too much. I just asked myself the question, and it was so obvious for me. So I was like, okay, well, I'll finish school, and then I'll go to yoga training. And from there, eventually in the future, I'll maybe open a school. But I know I want to teach yoga. And what also really inspired me was that I felt it made me feel so good. Yoga just it brought something into my life that I never wanted to let go of, and it completely changed my life in so many ways, and I wanted to help others find that within themselves also. So I found it for me, and I wanted to help share it and spread it. So that is why I decided to devote my life to teaching yoga.
Awesome. What was the specific school that you got your degree in?
So I went to Bikram Yoga College of India in LA.
In LA, okay.
It was a 9-week training where you did 2 classes a day, every day, and it's very intense. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But intense.
And what do you think your strength as a teacher?
My strength as a teacher. Well, I would say.
Also, if you don't want to be, you're so humble. That's like the best. Hearing a pause there is great. No, I mean your voice is great. I'd say
Thank you.
if I can describe, because I guess I get to take in a lot of teachers, right? So I can be a critic. Well, everyone has their benefits, right? So there's a good in everybody. So I'd say some people are really good at like Bree. Like some people are really good at like kind of like being creative and making you like being different every time, and like really challenging you, like I kind of like in sometimes an annoying way where you're like, I just want to chill and enjoy my yoga. Like, come on. Like there's a way to like make an experience as enjoyable as possible, and a lot of it is with the voice actually. So I'd say your voice is like one of the best I've ever heard.
Thank you.
And so
wow.
There's a real power behind the voice, and it comes from the heart. I'm learning more and more about one, heart opening, right? So as you know, like once you start opening your heart every day with camel poses and stuff like
Yes.
that, and kisses to the sky or the the sun, whatever, you open your heart. And what I've learned today, really, I was reflecting on like the Power of Myth by Campbell, and also I'm reading this book, Solve for Happy. But what I realized today is like the heart actually has a like really powerful vibration that actually can like people can sense it, like organisms can sense it, smaller organisms can sense it, who are more aware, right, who aren't as distracted in their heads, right? So like this heart actually sends out a vibration, and so you as a teacher send out a very loving vibration. And by the way, they figured out it's in key number F, so it's actually a certain key of like the musical keys and everything. And
wow, I didn't know that.
Synergy
That's
Yoga
so
taught me that. Yeah, they have a free class on Saturdays, 8:30 Espanola Way, and Amy there had this bowl, and she started playing. I had come and I was not, like necessarily my best, like highness ever, but she started at the end. She started playing this bowl at key F, and I'd never felt like my heart more open like before, and I was like, wow.
That's
and
amazing.
Apparently, it's key number F. So like I think there's something behind the voice and music where there's certain loving vibrations that can be very powerful, and so you have that, and so your
Wow.
classes like flow and they're very enjoyable, because they feel good,
So thank you. That's very humbling, and thank you.
Yeah, no. So just keep doing what you're doing. I mean, at some level, there's a way to like best, articulate, a class, or to, while you're doing the poses, there's kind of an energizing vibration that helps. So I'll say I do enjoy your classes. So what was the story of Glow? How did you find that space? Like, how did you become a success story in terms of, fulfilling your dream?
Well, before Glow was born, the studio in Miami Beach was called Bikram Yoga Miami Beach. And we were located on 11th Street. So I took over the studio from the previous owner. And within a month of taking over, we actually had to relocate. The building was sold, and the owners wanted to go in and remodel, so we had a temporary location at the Miami Beach Community Church on Lincoln Road, and it was very small. It was about 500 square feet, and it was just our little in-between space, but it was perfect. It worked. We fit about packed 20 people in there, mat to mat, so it was definitely it was a great experience. It was purely, you could feel like it was purely about the yoga. And where we are now, I say like fell from the heavens, because as I was looking I couldn't find anything, and finally I just said, you know what, let's just be here now. I extended at the church, and we were there for like 6 more months than we had intended. And then where we are now opened up, and one of our students actually approached me and said, you know, this, you might want to check out this space. So we moved over there, and it was in the summer of 2019.
Oh, really?
No, I'm sorry. No, 2016.
Okay.
2016.
Yeah.
And then a few months later, as we turned to 2017, I changed the name to Glow, because we were offering more than just Bikram yoga. We had vinyasa, we were bringing hot Pilates, yin yoga. So I wanted to, you know, have something that encompassed all of that. And the name Glow came about because when I was thinking of a name, I wanted to have a name that kind of expressed what we feel after practicing. And so I thought about how I feel after practicing, and I feel like I glow, like I feel lighter. My skin feels better. It looks to me like more brilliant and purified, and my eyes change. You know, you're releasing toxins, so I feel clean from the inside out. I feel lighter. I feel like the inner light that we all have just shines brighter. And so that's how the name Glow came about. And it's really interesting because it's become kind of like it's just a state of being. Like now, and when I hear students talk about the name and what Glow means to them, the responses are really beautiful. You know, some describe it as, you know, that inner light. You know, coming to class helps them maintain that glow, that essence. It strips away of, you know, what doesn't serve us, so that we keep our glow shining. You know, all the things, emotions that we may attach ourselves to, things that happen every day in our lives that are, you know, our ego's attached to. We're shedding all of that, and we're left with our divinity.
We're literally kind of like, you know, we're forgiving ourselves for what we did. You know, like we're getting rid of the physical presence of the reminder, which is our impurity. So we get rid of our impurity, become pure, spin a bunch of chakras, and then suddenly we're feeling good. And then the mind is so sensitive to how you're feeling that you start being in a more positive state of mind.
Yes.
You be more clear-headed because you've been, you know, you practice meditation for that long. So it's really transformative.
Yes.
I don't know what I would do without you guys. I was one of the first people there when he opened up after COVID. And yeah, I'd say what's been one of the biggest, I mean, COVID, it's probably obviously a huge challenge, but besides COVID, in a regular day and age, is there, what is it like hiring teachers for this? Is there a shortage, an abundance? What is it like? What would you say?
I haven't really felt either shortage or abundance. I feel like when we need teachers, they come. And when we don't need teachers at the moment, there are none that are seeking. So it's been interesting in that way. So right now, like our teachers, they've been with us for a long time. Some are from the old studio. And I would say most are. 90%.
Yeah, so they stuck around.
Yes. And which I love, because it really hones in on that family community aspect of the studio that was so important to me. And I wanted students to feel like Glow was a second home, a very safe place for them to retreat to. And like you say, it's like church to you.
Yeah. No, like honestly, I don't worry, but like I was like, yeah, if you guys ever went down, like I would freak out. I have to like build my own. But like the thing is, like we would all freak out together. Like we would probably we would stake out outside like the place, and like just like we would just like figure, like, you know, honestly, people go to hot yoga, like they're generally doing well in life. You know, I mean, they've discovered hot yoga, so they have, you know, financial means probably to like resurrect the studio. So I think you get enough people in an area experiencing the highness of hot yoga, it'll carry on. That flag will carry on because, if anything happens, like to, I don't know, the building or something, we would like figure a way to build a new one, like right away, like we're addicts. Like it's really like, oh my God, it's like the closest thing I can say is, it's funny. I mean, it's something that's completely selfish, right? You'd think, but at the same time, it's completely, the way you feel affects the way you go through the world, and it's like,
yes.
it's just like, it's this new age, and it is church. It is very powerful. Now, I know most of the classes I go to, especially post-COVID, are generally pretty full. I say, like, how much, do you ever see like a second studio happening? Because do you ever turn people down as classes fill up, or like, where do you see the demand, like, versus the supply right now?
I don't foresee a second studio. I'd like to focus my energy on making Glow the best that it can be. And I would like to add other branches to it, which I'm not sure I want to talk about right now because they're kind of in the works, and I don't want to, talk about anything too soon.
Sure.
But I don't foresee a second space. I'd like to just continue building up where we are. I am doing some things at the studio right now to improve it to going into the new year, and to grow, the community and the space, and have new offerings, expand the schedule. We're still kind of working on the post-COVID schedule, so I'd like to bring in more classes like we had before. We had around like 5 to 7 classes daily. So just still not so much going back to how we were, but evolving into the next phase of Glow.
Okay, which is secret still. Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
Stay tuned.
Well, I'm like kind of like I stick with the Bikram usually. I mean, it's one of those things. Like, in a perfect world, would everyone be doing Bikram like once a week? Like, if they knew it was good for them? Like, maybe, I don't know, but it'll take a while to get there. I think in that world, it would have to be like prioritized at the same level as like going to the gym, and then the gyms would have hot yoga studios, like more and more gyms could have them, and it could just grow the more it's realized is very powerful. But how much goes into, like, how expensive is it, those heaters, like, to get? I know, like, this is kind of funny because, like, I don't know if you know, at one point, like, I came from San Francisco, I came from, even in Chicago, at first I was just, there were some days it was like, okay, it's not exactly 105 degrees, and I would like freak out. I was like, but now I don't care anymore. I'm just like, I got used to it. But like, I know it can be hard sometimes to keep it at a perfect 105. But like, how easy is it for people to retrofit a room to be like that hot? Like, what goes into that? Is it like new technology? Is it old?
They're different heating systems. Before we only had those blowing heaters that you'll see. We have 5 up in the studio. But a few years ago, we brought in the infrared heat, and that, what is it? I mean, people love it. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. It's great for your body. It heats not the room; it heats what's under it. So your body's getting hot, but the room doesn't feel as hot because, that's not the purpose of that type of heater. And you're able to breathe better. It doesn't feel so stuffy in there. We do have the humidity on our side, being in Miami, so that's nice. But yeah, it just depends. There are different systems, but the infrared is our main source of heat.
Okay.
And it's great. It's great for circulation. It's amazing.
Nice. And do you have like a specific partner or like mentor help you guide you through like the whole business?
No, just a lot of research on my end.
Did you make any friends with like any other hot yoga studio owners or?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, before I had a studio, I taught for 10 years, so I taught all over Miami, the Aventura Studio, Brickell, across the bridge on Biscayne. I was very spread out, Fort Lauderdale, so I'm friends with all the owners, and so I learned, and then I did my own research to see what was the best fit for what I had envisioned. But they're all great, and there are many options out there.
Yeah. No, I mean, Google is an amazing resource.
Yes.
Yeah, you have a dream, you can find a way to do it. I'm sure you had a lot of personal supporters, friends, family, stuff like that. So, in going forward, it seems like you have a great operating studio, you got a new baby. I guess, are you just living the dream? I feel like everyone I interview is just like living the dream. Like, is there any secret hobby or anything left for you to like accomplish or anything? Are you just gonna enjoy what you've built?
No, I feel like I'm always in a constant state of growing. I have new ideas that I would love to bring to fruition. So I always feel like I'm a work in progress. I'm always learning. I certainly don't feel like I've finished. Like I feel like there's
constant growth, and the growth sometimes becomes small. It becomes a more slow sometimes, but that's fine because you're enjoying it more,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're enjoying the slow growth, right? And it's almost timeless, and it's not forced. And other times, fast growth is needed, right? And so obviously in the beginning stages, there was very fast growth that was happening. But once you have something good, it's really about caring for it, maintaining it, maintaining the community.
And it's true, the slow growth and the fast growth. Like when I first became a teacher, I only wanted to focus on teaching. I wasn't thinking about opening a studio. I wanted to teach for at least a decade before I considered opening my own space. I wanted to just focus on the journey of becoming a teacher because that's a whole other experience. After I practiced for 3 years before I went to training. So now I was on the other side and I had so much to learn. I was getting completely out of my comfort zone. I'm naturally a very shy person. So I know some people are surprised to hear that because I get up in a room and I teach, but I had to face that fear of getting up in front of people. And going to training was kind of pretty much the start of that for me. So so for 10 years I only wanted to teach. And then, believe it or not, after that 10-year mark is when the opportunity to open a space came about. So it was like, I guess, part manifestation, part,
An external challenge, or you saw the opening there for your need, you saw the need, basically, right? And sometimes we go through life improving ourselves, but until we see like a clear need we can fulfill, we kind of just keep improving ourselves slowly. But then it's time to pounce on that. There's a hole there. There's a need to be fulfilled. So why not fulfill that and jump into it, right? And start moving faster. So that's very exciting. Obviously, you're great at yoga. Do a lot of yoga. What's maybe like a morning routine or like a healthy habit of yours that you can share?
Right now, my healthiest habit is probably I get up in the morning and the first thing I drink is apple cider vinegar with water and lemon. That's my kickstart. I wake up pretty early around 7:30 with my daughter, and she's my alarm clock. And our routine is we hang out at home for a few hours. She likes to read her books. So
how old is she?
She is 13 months.
13 months. Oh
yeah.
Wow. Already reading? Yeah.
I'm reading.
Oh, you're reading.
She goes
Super
to.
baby.
I didn't realize.
Already doing Bikram perfectly?
She does downward dog on cue.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No Bikram yet, but we'll get there.
So she's reading, and you're with her, and yeah, it's powerful. So opening the heart very early already.
Yes.
There you are. Have you noticed any big growing of your heart just by being a parent?
Oh my goodness. My heart my capacity for love grows every single day.
Yeah.
Being a mom. Yes. I just fall more and more in love with her. It's challenging, but it's also the most rewarding experience of my life.
When were your last tears of joy? I haven't asked anyone that yet.
I think yesterday, actually.
Yesterday?
Yes.
I had some yesterday too, actually. And what was it about?
I think I was looking back at photos of her when she was just born.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah,
So
sometimes
reminiscing.
some real powerful memories of love, or even imagery of love, like feeling really connected, like your heart will just surge and then send out a vibration, and it's a beautiful thing,
Yes.
And so, parents feel that extra, they've built up their hearts with that, and I'd say one thing all of us can do is just open our hearts more ourselves every day.
Absolutely.
Self-love and stuff like that. Who do you love in Miami? Who are some of your favorite characters, restaurants. Are you a complete like vegan, or do you mix it up, or what?
I I mix it up. So I'm not on any special diet. I'm quite the foodie actually. I like.
So where do you
like
go? What are some good chefs or places that we can try?
Let's see. Well, not. Well, yeah, you could be healthy there. Winkers that just opened up on the corner. Winkers, right by the studio. Really good. It's that nice diner.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. I love Azabu for sushi. What else? I love Nayara, Thai. Let's see.
No, that's plenty. I mean, I got some new spots to maybe check out. Who do you follow in Miami, like on your Instagram, in terms of like people you respect, characters, people who could be fun to have on the podcast, or anyone that comes to mind? Maybe a few.
In Miami?
Yeah, just people you respect, because this is all about basically looking up to leaders, and it's like the new myth stories every week. We hear about some character journey, some warrior going through difficulty or whatever, finding their love, finding their passion, encouraging others maybe to find their passion if they haven't yet, also to pursue it if they kind of know what it is but they've been delaying. So is there anyone else out there who has a great character story, or someone you respect their journey, someone in Miami you might follow?
Let's see. Not yoga. It could be anything. Not yoga related.
Anything. It could be a restaurant owner. It could be, a musician friend you have, an organizer.
A jewelry maker.
Jewelry maker. Oh
yes.
Yeah.
I actually reached out to her today. Her name is Adriana. She has a jewelry line called Amlove, and I really love it. She specializes in, she makes everything herself, and they're all affirmations. So her necklaces, bracelets, earrings, everything, it's I am, and then she'll have the word attached to it. I am love, I am brave, I am grateful, and it's really beautiful. So yeah, that's someone that, she's a beautiful story too, which was the beginning of her jewelry designing.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to reach out.
You'll reach out to her, and she can share that with you.
One last question. What is an affirmation that you like to use that's maybe funny or unique to you and like your story?
I mean, I am grateful is a big one in my life. I feel it's important to be obsessively grateful. I wake up in the morning and I think of what I'm grateful for. Throughout the day, I take moments and feel gratitude, and at night before I go to bed, I think of what I'm grateful for again. And I just think that's so important to take moments. It doesn't even have to be like, it could be just a few seconds, but just to feel that gratitude for, what you do have in your life. We all go through things, right? We all have our experiences, our challenges. So, but there's also so many things in our life that we need to express gratitude for. And so yeah, that's my number one.
Yeah, like before bed. It's like free energy, free love. It's actually, I think more people can get better at it just by throwing themselves into it, like saying I'm thankful, thank you for, or like saying thank you for, and just seeing what comes out.
Exactly.
Like throw yourself into it, saying it out loud even. That's what I found to be helpful, to kind of like kind of throw yourself on stage and say thank you for this, and then your mind comes up with something. You don't have to just sit there and think too much about it.
No.
It's just like I'm thankful for the sun, like whatever you're looking at, like just like be in a mode of actively. What
saying
you do?
Thank you.
You actually you rotate your throat chakra, like that chakra right there. By talking lovingly to yourself and the world, you can actually spin that thing like crazy. So that's also very connected to the crown chakra. So like it's one down, right? Or so it's like no, it's not. There's a third eye, but like it's very a pivotal point, the throat. And so the more you use it, right?
Yes.
That's why your voice is very nice.
Thank you.
You've flexed it.
And like attracts like. So putting out that feeling and that vibration, it's the law of attraction. More reasons to be grateful are going to come into your life.
Right. No, you're,
Right?
yeah, it's almost like a magnet. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm really fascinated by all this science of all this stuff, but I think it's very clear. Hot yoga makes you feel amazing. So
Yes.
thank you so much. I'm very grateful for you, Raquel, for having that establishment
Likewise.
there. And
I'm grateful to have you at the studio as one of our students.
you can count on me once a week. You know that. Every
And
Wednesday.
I'm grateful to be sitting with you here right now. Thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, we always do a hard time. Awesome.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
no, thank you so much for coming, and I'll see you on Wednesday. You know.
I'll be there.
Switch.